Hi, I'm Will Fendon from the Fendon Properties team. If you're receiving this video, it's because we believe you're somebody who's interested in staying up to date on the local real estate market. Now, the topic of our video today is to bring you up to speed on some major rule changes that happened in the local real estate industry in Oregon this past August. Those changes resulted from a landmark class action lawsuit that happened earlier this year, in which the National Association of Realtors and several powerhouse national real estate brokerages lost in a multi-billion-dollar case that forced some important changes to the way that we do business in Oregon. I want to bring you up to speed on what I see happening at the street level for both buyers and sellers. Okay, so now that we've been living with these rule changes for a couple of months, the first thing I want to talk about is how they're affecting sellers. If you're thinking about listing a home or a piece of property with a residential realtor like myself, there are two critical things you need to understand. The first one pertains to the actual contract forms that we use in the state of Oregon. As a result of the Sitzer-Burnett trial, they have now been modified to no longer include a section for what's called the Buyer's Agent Commission, or the BAC. So in the past, when you listed a property for sale with a licensed agent, the listing agreement would have a total rate of commission, usually somewhere between 5 and 6%. But common practice was to designate part of that as the BAC. There was a section in the listing agreement where that was stated so that a seller would understand when their property sold, a portion of that commission would be paid to the buyer's agent. That no longer is part of our standard listing agreement. The second thing that has resulted from this trial is that within the MLS system itself, where all listings originate, that's where they're all created before they get syndicated out to Redfin and Zillow and Realtor.com and many other sites. Listings themselves can no longer include the rate of the BAC. In the past, that's where buyer's agents would always go to see how much they're going to get paid on a property if their client buys it. It was advertised within the listing in a special field. Typically, that would show up as 2.25, 2.5, maybe even 3%. That no longer can be done. The BAC cannot be advertised within listings. So what does that mean? It doesn't mean that sellers are not paying buyer's agent commissions anymore. It's just being handled differently. We're going to talk about that next. Now, if you're looking to buy property and work with a licensed agent, there are a couple of rule changes that are also critical to understand. Number one is that for the first time in the state of Oregon, since I've been selling real estate here for almost 20 years, it's been mandated that agents working with buyers must have a written agreement in place where the agent's commission is stated. It's called the Buyer's Representation Agreement. A typical one might state that the agent's commission is 2.5% and that agreement is valid for 12 months. It can be anything, but that's pretty typical. The second crucial thing to understand is when a buyer's agent submits an offer on a piece of property, the buyer's agent's commission is now a negotiable term within the offer. It was never handled that way in the past because the amount of the buyer's agent's commission was determined up front in the listing agreement itself. But now it's negotiable. If a seller is willing to pay the buyer's agent commission, no problem, things proceed, normally the way they always have. But if a seller is unwilling to pay a commission altogether, or maybe they're only willing to pay part of a commission because they don't feel the offer they received is strong enough, the buyer is responsible to make up the difference. Or in some cases, if the seller absolutely refuses to pay any commission, then the buyer will be responsible to pay their agent at the rate that's stated in that buyer's representation agreement. So it's crucial to understand if you're looking to buy a property and you're working out the financing, this is something you should budget for. Hopefully it won't happen, but there is a possibility that as a buyer, you may be held responsible to pay some portion or all of your agent's commission in order to have professional representation. So if you're thinking about buying or selling real estate anytime soon, I'd love to have an exploratory conversation with you about how these rule changes factor into your situation. I've been helping our clients buy and sell real estate in Oregon for almost 20 years now, and I get tremendous joy out of helping them succeed. I'm easy to find. Please feel free to get in touch. You can call or text me or book a Zoom meeting directly with the links below. Thanks.